The horror movie-cation of Mama E with Natalie, a For the Love of Ghost podcast series. This podcast discusses topics that some viewers may find distressing. Viewer discretion is advised. If you are in crisis or know someone who is, please call any of these numbers. In the UK, Samaritans on 116 123 or Mind on 0300 102 1234. In the USA, you can contact the CDC, call or text via 988. If at all unsure, please contact your emergency services. Hello everyone! So this is a new series within the For the Love of Ghost universe, whereby I'm going to be educated on horror movies, because I've never really watched that many horror movies. And as we all know, Tobias is inspired by a lot of horror movies. They potentially watched at ages he shouldn't have. But I'm going to watch them now and learn. And guiding me through all this is my partner in crime. Like to introduce yourself.
Well, hello. How are you? I'm Natalie.
Good.
I am a horror movie fan. I too have been watching horror movies since I was 30. Probably a little bit too small. So yeah, I've seen a lot of the same horror movies that Tobias has, that we've heard him talk about on interviews and on other podcasts and stuff like that. So I thought, why not guide our wonderful Mama Emeritus through a crash course of some of the movies that Tobias has been talking about over the last God knows how many years. And when we get bored of the ones that he's been talking about on podcasts, I will start pulling references from t-shirts. So there's that.
Yes, we can have a second series on songs from t-shirts. Gotta think of a better name from that. So, what is the first movie that I have been subjected to? I wouldn't call it subjected. I quite enjoyed it though.
This is not only one of my favourite horror movies of all time, and the reason I say horror like that is because if you ask anyone that's involved with it, they'll tell you it's not a horror movie, psychological thriller. Stop that, it's a horror movie, the devil's in it. Ladies and gentlemen, ghouls and ghosties, we are going to be talking about The Omen today.
Yes, I have to agree that I don't find it a horror movie. It's in line with like The Sixth Sense for me. I don't know how to word it. It's like it's not a jump scare. It's not slasher movie. Oh, stabby.
No,
I can get the mortars found
okay.
out in the bush.
No, not today. No.
Not today. Today we're talking.
We have to remember the time. Not corn. Yes, I think we have to take into account the time that this movie was made and that this movie was released.
Yes.
This is a movie from. We are talking about the 1976 Omen, not the tragedy that is the 2006 remake. I will reserve my thoughts on the 2006 remake.
I might have to watch that just so I can make comparisons. But I'm not keen on remakes.
The cast is fantastic. It's Liev Schreiber and I can see her face. I can't remember her name right now. I can't remember who plays the priest in that one, but it's Liev Schreiber as Robert Thorne. To the Google machine. Away.
Was it Michael Gambon? Did I see Michael Gambon? Is he in it?
I don't know.
You have to look it up.
Let's have a look.
And then we will come back to one we're actually looking at, which is the 1976 one, which is,
it was
really
Pete Postlethwaite.
Oh, I love Pete Postlethwaite. He was brilliant. He's a very good actor.
Julia Stiles was the name of the actress that I couldn't remember.
There you go. But we're not looking at that. We're looking at the Richard Donner one.
And everything, but we're not looking at that one.
No, we're looking at the Richard Donner, Gregory
Richard
Peck.
Donner directed.
I think
Gregory Peck, Lee Remick.
one of the main things I noticed from films in that era, though, is the age of the lead male is always a much older man. Like, it's quite a dramatic. I looked up the year they were born. He was born in 2016. She was born in 1935. So you generally wouldn't get that now. I don't feel like quite that sort of dramatic. And I think pardon?
19-year age gap. Is my mathing correctly?
Yeah, I think it's my brain went about 20 years. That'll do. That's 19-year age gap.
Close enough.
Close enough. Yeah. So it is quite funny. So I think they age her character up within it. Because she would have only been 41. He was 60. He looked good for his age, I have to say. Well, he'd probably been slightly younger when they were making it. Obviously, because they never released the year made, but
I think there was some extenuating factors to how he looked as well, because he looked his age. I think he looked to me like a 60-year-old should look. I'll throw in a little fun fact, but it's not so fun. When they were originally sending the script out to people's agents for this movie, one of the people they did not send the script to was Gregory Peck. The reason being is he had just lost his son literally the year before they made the movie. I don't know whether it was an accident or whether the son completed suicide, but he had lost. Let me check, but I'm pretty sure that he lost his son the year before before filming commenced. So they didn't want to
especially
they didn't want to send it to him in case it was
a bit triggering. Triggering. Wow.
A little bit,
Just a little bit.
1975, his eldest son, Jonathan, completed suicide at age 31 whilst his father was in France.
So there's a couple of within the film as well. There is suicide, so please, trigger warnings. If you need any help, like we'll just tell you now, reach out. There's Samaritans who you can reach on 116 123, or there's Mind, who you can call on 0300 102 1234. Obviously, back in 1976, when we talk about that section of the movie, there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? That ADHD brain has decided to steal my words from me today. But there's a lot more stigma around that topic than there is today. There's a lot less about sort of the mental health side of things. Though I actually think, being 1976, they cover it with a lot of grace. Like, his character covers it with a lot of grace when we get to that point. But let's start at the beginning.
There are,
which is the 6th of June. Generally at the beginning. 6th of June at 6 a.m. Some funny things going on with numbers there. What could that be? 666. Oh, very nice. Very good. 666.
I should also point out that I am repping Thorn Industries today.
Oh, very good. Very good. We like it.
Don't get used to the t-shirts matching the movies, people. It may happen, it may not.
Today I'm sticking with Ghost. I've got nothing to do with it. I'm just a scarecrow, Some rib cages going on.
It's suitably Halloweeny, suitably spooky.
Yeah, exactly. Which is hopefully when this is being released is Halloween. Hi, happy Halloween all. So
happy Halloween.
We are opening on. So actually, it starts with some really very 1976, very dull credits. God, I don't miss.
But with a fantastic chant.
Yes, which is very noticeable through the whole movie. The Latin chant is very, very important to the whole film.
The original score that was nominated for an Academy Award.
There you go. And it starts on him in the car, ominous message narrated over the top, the child is dead. You know, he breathed his first, he breathed his last, the child is dead, the child is dead. So, you know, it's quite an ominous way to open a film. I must say that must be quite traumatic. 1976 in the cinema. That would be quite like, whoa, this is something. But then this is very telling of the time. Like, the mother gave, like, obviously you don't have to have the sperm donor in the room with you. But nowadays, like, women are a lot more aware when they're having their child. They're generally not sedated or knocked out or anything like that. My mum didn't let anything like that.
That was standard back in the days, that they were anesthetized and the baby was delivered and they had no.
And especially, I suppose it's in the
no
US.
No how, no what, no.
I think in the US as well, and it still is very different to what it is over here. Because obviously, my mum over here, nuns tried to help her give birth too. She's thinking, "What the hell do you know?" And a nun was trying to put a mask over her face when my brother was born. My brother was born in 1970, and she kicked her across the room. So, you know, don't mess with my mother. Is the the doctor came in and was like, well, if Mrs. Harris said she didn't want gas and air, Mrs. Harris did not want gas and air. So, you know, the nun got no sympathy. So, obviously, there's the initial priest, what's he? Father, I want to say Stiletto. I know it's not
Father Stiletto.
Spiletto, sorry. He's
Stiletto.
there,
and there's
a nun with this other baby. I just understand. I still can't quite grasp why this nun and this priest have this particular baby. So it reminds me, I see where Good Omens gets their inspiration from. But why do a nun and a priest, presumably Catholic?
Do you want me to spoil it for you?
Well, you can. Oh, by the way, major spoilers. Okay, 76. It's from 1976.
In the movie. Fuck off! It's from 1976. You've had your chance.
Are you sure? It took me a long time to watch. Anyway, go on.
Yeah.
Spoil it for me.
So, the nun and Father Stiletto are, yes, they are supposedly Catholic. However, they are part of a secret satanic organization who have vowed to bring about the birth of the Antichrist.
Is this was covered in the first Omen?
It is covered in the first Omen. It's also covered in the book.
I remember this in the first Omen now. Sorry, if anyone, we will cover the first Omen at some point because I have watched it.
Oh, yeah, spoilers for the first Omen. If you haven't seen that, that one is new.
That one's new. The first Omen, but it's a prequel, and yeah, so some of the stuff. Well, it doesn't. To me, that's not a spoiler. It just covers some of the stuff you don't quite get in this one. Like, it covers it, and obviously towards the end of the film, some bits. Do you know what stops a horror movie being a horror movie or scary in the slightest? When you're there taking copious amounts of notes. I mean, you can barely like stupid amounts of notes, like typing away. Suddenly, it's not quite so scary anymore. Well, it's not the way
you did do your homework, didn't you? I'm so proud of you.
I did do my homework. I did lots of writing stuff.
Good girl.
So, as I said, I do laugh how the priest is like, this will be a blessing for your wife and for the child. Oh, such a blessing. But what I quite like is the montage that then, follows on from this. Once Gregory Mr. Thorne, Robert, has decided for his wife that they're going to take this child in because she's wanted a child for so long and she didn't want to adopt because she wants one of her own, and obviously is so out of it she doesn't realise her child has died and that this is not her child. Again, something that probably wouldn't happen.
The priest did have one of my favourite lines in the whole film.
Go on.
On this night, Mr. Thorne, God has given you a son.
On this night. All right, Dracula.
I don't think God had anything to do with it, if I'm being honest.
No, I think he was going, what? 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 What am I getting blamed for now? It's like, I didn't do anything.
Nothing to do with me. Blame the other one.
I was on holiday. So, yes. So, blessing. And then then they, don't die. So, this major blessing. And then suddenly they're moving to London because obviously we've got to cover the fact that Robert is a ambassador. So he is now
the ambassador to Great Britain.
Yes, they've come to London. Massive, wonderful house. I wouldn't mind Damien's day room. But I did obviously, it's quite a nice day room, but it's all very delicate and all very lovely. And obviously there's some sort of understanding that maybe someday, Robert might run for president and, Mrs. Thorne is too sexy to be the president's wife and all this, and then they just have a hug. It's all very, very 70s. And then you have the montage
She did throw her fur coat on the floor.
She did, very dramatically, threw it on the floor. And then they have a hug. There's no furniture upstairs either, darling. And and there we go, nice hug. And now we're doing a montage that Damien is growing up, so we can cover a couple of years. So we don't have to deal with the teething. Showing that they're that their parents, that they love their child, like they're out for a walk and suddenly they don't know where he is because he was behind them. Which I'm sorry, when you saw the age of him, why was he walking behind them? But I'm not going to question someone else's parenting style. That's up to them. If they wanted their 2-year-old behind them, but they get very upset and worried.
Listen,
and then
it could be worse.
It could
be worse. They could have been left on their own in a shopping mall in Gibraltar.
Are you talking from life experience there, Natalie? I feel there's something there. I'm advertising EMP at the minute instead of advertising Ghost. It's the wrong one.
My parents left me on my own in a shopping mall in Gibraltar when I was 8 years old. When I was returned to the hotel by another guest who found me, my parents went, "Oh, there she is."
Are you trying to tell me that you're the Damianetta?
No, I'm a Waynetta.
Waynetta. Sorry, silly me. That's a proper British joke, that is. A Waynetta. All right. But anyway, so montage, lovely family photos. My brain's going, how much time did that take? Like taking all those pictures of the growing child, and they're nice pictures though. It's very sweet.
It's so cute.
I know, it's really cute. I bet they actually had a lot of fun doing those particular ones. And now we come to Damien's 5th birthday. Stupid things that play in my mind is he blew his candles out before they sang happy birthday. What they do that for? Really important, nothing to do with the plot, but the way my brain works. And the nanny's holding him, and there's obviously paparazzi around, media because of him being an ambassador and well known. I like how they throw in that he is friends with the president, that they were just college roommates, He's quite an important thing. So they have the birthday, and I did laugh about the fact when they introduce Jennings into it, his first line. I like Jennings, he's very cool. And you go, oh, he's going to be important. He had an interesting line there. And I can't remember quite, but it was about joking about the fact whether, this child is heir to the Thorne fortune or whether he's the next Jesus Christ. Is what Jennings' first line is going to be. And you think, oh, he's probably going to be someone in it that might be worth keeping an eye on. Quite useful. And then we have the first sighting of the dog. And I know. I was thinking it's so harsh, though. No wonder poor Rottweilers have a bad name. Thinking they'd have to have a Rottweiler. I know, because they're probably easily trained. The actual dog should have been a Chihuahua, but, trying to train a Chihuahua to do what it's asked.
Well, they really are the spawn of Satan, yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So they couldn't do that because the dog wouldn't do what it was told. So, they had to go with the Rottweiler because it listened. So I'm joking. Anyone listening to that, it's not true. Not true. False news. False news. Do you imagine years later? I'm sure someone said it should have been a Chihuahua in it. No.
I'm not taking the blame for that one. That's all her.
Yeah, it's all me. It's all me. Fake news. Fake news. So there's some. So I forgot to cover the fact there was some sort of interaction with the nanny and Mrs. Thorne. So the nanny was holding the child, wasn't there, to have the photo taken, and Mrs. Thorne obviously.
So Holly was holding Damien.
Yes,
and she seemed quite. Would you say reluctant to hand Damien back to his mother? I would say a little bit of hesitancy there. She said, "No, Mum, I can take him." And she was like, "No, I think you'll find he's my child, and I'll carry him. Thank you very much."
Thanks very much.
Holly did seem to be a bit
put out
at that, and then there was a little bit of the dog was like, "Listen, I see you."
And then there was a communication with the dog. And that was very important. It was the first sighting of the dog. And what I made note of is with the first sighting of the dog, there's specific music. Within certain scenes, there's specific music that comes in. It was very synthetic.
That little
very
singer that comes in.
Yes. And it's almost sort of the music is showing to you that there's some sort of communication going on. There's something going on between the nanny and the dog. And then you don't think anything more. There's some nice videos or images and scenes of children enjoying the party, having slides, going on the roller, not the roller. It was a little mini roller coaster, isn't there?
A little mini roller coaster.
It's so cute. It was a well fun little party.
5-year-old has that.
I know. Not going to bloody remember it, are they? And then you hear, "This is for you,
Jump on it."
Yeah, exactly. So he's now on the merry-go-round, and you can hear, Damien, this is for you, Damien. It's all for you. And
Damien.
You do very well.
It's all for you, Damien. It's all for you. And then she takes a swan dive off the balustrade.
With a rope round her neck.
With a rather interesting necklace. Yes.
Yeah. Straight into a window. I mean, for something in 1976, it was sounds awful. Amazingly well shot, I think. It looked really freaking realistic to me. It's quite
everything to me in this film is beautifully shot. From the close-ups of Richard Donald does a lot of, sounds really weird, but he does a lot of eye work in this film.
I was going to say that
close-ups of
people's eyes where they get the thought is there.
You get the dog's eyes, and you get, there's a lot of this sort of angle of people.
Is that where that comes into right here, right now? There's the bit where they close up the eyes.
It's also used in Giallo movies as well, which is where the colouring comes from. But that's a discussion for another show. Well,
it's not one. But yes, the close-ups of the eyes. I did make note that later on in that there's meaningful looks. I don't want to say the Joey Tribbiani school acting, but
I think you find that Billy Whitelaw's a much better actress than that. Thank you. But yes, there's a lot of close-ups on eyes, and I think the whole film is beautifully shot. It's the 70s. Yes, it's a slow burn. Yes, there's a lot of the film doesn't really get going for about an hour.
No,
and
exactly.
It's only an hour and 50 minutes long.
You learn a lot, and it's almost that build-up. So it's almost like a roller coaster. You know the bit where they're chugging up the steep bit that side. And then you hit a certain peak. I would say it's probably when you get to Italy. We'll get there, but when it hits Italy, it's whoom, and you're like,
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention, I missed something. You know, you have to really pay attention to that last sort of half an hour. Well, it's about 51 minutes. It's quite lengthy, again, for that era. Because most movies, I feel back then, were like an hour and a half. So, but I do feel like the
Yeah,
last
you were tight 90 minutes. Yeah.
40, 45 minutes
But
is
even
like,
though it's nearly 2 hours long, it is beautifully paced.
and I
There's
think,
no wasted film in any of it.
no, there really isn't. And the bit, so what I found really fascinating, once she jumped, and is the silence. I thought they played with silence really, really well. And all you got initially was the click of his camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a very clever thing to do. And then the music came back in when Damien made eye contact with the dog.
Yeah.
When he turns around, he's in his mum's arms, and they're trying to protect him. And he looks so unfazed, it's unreal. Like, you know, yeah. And he waves to the dog. But the silence is what makes that scene, because I think in that minute, everyone
so powerful.
Yeah, you'd just be like, it would be like that. It would just be like, what has just happened? And it would take people a moment or two to gather themselves and round the children up and take people away from all of that. And how they managed to do it so they didn't scar, well, I don't know, in the 1970s, having, you know, not talking about that particular film, but, you know, they did do some stuff in certain other films that we will probably look at some point. Like, there might not be quite so much worry about the kids' well-being, but I presume it was very carefully shot. I don't know how they did it, but I think that scene is probably one of the most powerful in the whole movie, and probably the one that would scare most people.
Definitely.
Because it was like, what the hell just happened? Like, and that's the first inkling that he's not a good kid. Like, but he's not a bad kid. He's just a child. Like, at that point, there is nothing.
He's just a baby.
He's just a baby. And then the bit, so I think after that, so I put the silence is telling. Again, Samaritans people, because again, you know, you're better off in the world. I will say the numbers again. Samaritans 116 and 123 for Samaritans, and Mind 0300 102 1234. Please call them if you are having any difficulties. Obviously, she was told to do it then and there, so you know. And I think it's the stigma then that if you commit, if you, I don't know, unalive yourself, you do not get into the kingdom of heaven. I think it was that emphasis that they were putting on it in the movie.
In the note, we'll also drop the links to the CDC and the National Strategy for Suicide Prevention. We'll drop their website because they work quite closely together. So we will drop some American resources into the chat, into the links as well. So, but yeah, if you are feeling of a certain way, if you feel like you've been influenced by the son of the devil to unalive yourself, please reach out. The world is much better with you in it. Thank you.
There we go. So after that, though, he's now heading into work, and we see a bit more of the interaction from the media. There's like, they're trying to really smear their previous nanny's person say she was on drugs. Did you know this about her? And obviously that would then have an impact on him being ambassador. And he's actually very polite. I think for that day and age, like he could have been a very chauvinistic, misogynistic man and been like, yeah, she was awful and couldn't deal with herself, and she was a very hysterical lady and all that. And he doesn't. I think he does. He's very polite to these. I would have told them where to go, but he's very polite to them. And basically says, no, this is not how it was. Those articles are wrong, blah, 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 blah. And that's when he walks into Jennings, accidentally knocking his camera out of his hands, potentially damaging it. And again, he's very polite, says sorry, and to send him the bill for the damage.
For a new one.
Yeah. And a new one. And then I do think Jennings is a bit smarmy there. And no, just say that you owe me. I was like, it's a bit... So I thought that was quite cool. He then takes photos, doesn't he? What was this point?
of always around. He's there for quite a lot of things. He seems to be there for quite a few pivotal moments in the film. In the run up to getting to Italy, Jennings is a very central character.
Yeah. And also he starts developing some of these pictures that he's taken and starts seeing a fault. But at that point you thought, you could potentially think the fault in the image is because his camera got smashed on a floor. That it could be an error.
Yep.
And then we leave his world of work and we're back home and enters a new character. The terrifying version of Mary Poppins walks in, Mrs. Baylock. The woman seems to have has more teeth than it seems humanly possible. When she does that smile.
Is the brilliant Billy Whitelaw. Absolutely fantastic. And if you are struggling to place where you know her from, Hot Fuzz.
Oh.
She was in Hot. She is the landlady in Hot Fuzz.
Of course she is.
That is the late great Billy Whitelaw, who I love her. Yes, that's where
she plays
young snappers may know her from.
Yeah, she plays the most wonderfully sinister character ever because she doesn't do much. It's just tone of voice, way she's standing. She's brilliant. She's seriously brilliant and terrifying.
Never raises her voice.
No,
never.
Is she Irish? Is it like an Irish accent she's got? It's almost.
It's very, an Irish accent, yeah.
Yeah, it's very gentle.
Very lilting, very soft.
Yeah,
yes, mom. You really think a 5-year-old?
You think you're going to let him meet her on her own? Like, as a parent, even if I didn't trust this person, if I had employed them, I still wouldn't let them meet my child by themselves. It's just...
But it's... did you notice the switch in the vocal between... Oh, well, I was sent by, wherever it was, or the agency, mom, they heard about your old... They heard about your old nanny and, some of these young girls, they, boyfriend trouble and the switch from that to when she walks into Damien's room and he looks up at her and that angle that you get as you're looking up at her and she says, "Have no fear, little one. I am here to protect thee." And you're like,
no. And then the door closes. My brain also then went, who leaves their 5-year-old alone in a room with an open fire? I know there's a thing around it, but fire? Really? Okay. Interesting.
My parents did. Hi.
All right, Waynetta. Okay, fine. Silly me. God, dear. But the door closing. And I literally wrote, anyone else have a small issue? An issue of small child left in a room with a fire. I've literally written in brackets.
Nah.
But it's the fact she actually delivers that line before she closes the door and they watch her shut the door. A lot of the camera angles and the way they filmed it and the directions they filmed it is what added, like you said, the close up to the eyes or the looking up and the way he gives her as well. I mean, the little boy playing, is it Stephen Harvey? Harvey Stevens, sorry. My brother's a Stephen. I flipped it around. He was brilliant. I mean, the way he just was like smiled at her. But then I just the way Mrs. Baylock tries to go against the wishes of Mrs. Thorne with the church thing. And again, it's that she was standing at the top of the stairs, she's at the bottom of the stairs. So even though Mrs. Thorne is the really the powerful one in the relationship, it shows I think is like showing, I mean, I could be reading far too much into this, we never know, it's a bit like reading poetry, but the fact Mrs. Baylock's at the top of the stairs and Miss Thorne's at the bottom, so she's having to look up at Mrs. Baylock and say, no, I want my child ready.
That was strike one for me. Do you really think a 5-year-old is going to understand the goings on of an Episcopalian wedding? Listen, bitch, get the kids dressed, get him in the fucking car.
Job. Yeah, exactly. It was the whole, I think he'd rather go to the park. Well, the parents probably would rather go to the park than this wedding, but that's not the point. So he's now in the car. They've got him.
Yeah, all right, okay. Well, we're done with the wedding. Then he can go.
Yeah, and I was like, 5 minutes. That's impressive. If she managed to get a 5-year-old ready in 5 minutes,
in a suit, in a suit.
It's quite something. But anyway, nice drive up, and again, that particular music starts to play. Something's gonna happen, it. And I think some of it would be psychosymptomatic. You might not initially realize the music's playing because they start it so quietly. Like you almost feel your own heart rate. It's a bit like they put heartbeats into certain music because it affects your own heart rate. It's very clever. So the music starts to play as they're approaching this very big, scary looking church. Like it's quite an imposing building. And Damien starts.
That's Guildford Cathedral in Surrey.
There you go. I mean, it's a beautiful building, but I mean, even to any genuine 5-year-old, that could be quite what's going on here? So he starts shaking, and his mum's worried about him. But again, you could be thinking the nanny might have just put ideas in his head. Why is he shaking? He's not ill, he's not hot, he's not anything. He just is panicking. It's like he's scared. So he's hugging to his mum. So he obviously does, this person he sees as his mother, he does, seem to be quite attached to her and seek her as a source of comfort. And then it's once the dad, Mr. Thorne, gets out of the car that he goes absolutely crazy and attacks his mother, screaming and shouting and not wanting to go. This is the type where you think
definitely not.
In this day and age, that would be like, I think they had a bit of a meltdown there. I think we need to talk to the doctors and maybe get some sort of assessments done here. That sort of thing. I love how they're back. This is what I love in films, though. Time of day doesn't seem to matter. So their conversation now about whatever happened in the car, which was in pure daylight, it's now bedtime.
Yes.
And it's dark outside.
Yes.
And she's dabbing this bruise on her face, about to go to bed with perfect face and makeup. I love the 90s. I love these movies. It's just so beautiful.
Did you notice in the car, as Damien was pitching his fit, he was crying out for help?
Oh, yeah. It didn't, but now you bring it to my attention, yes.
Help. 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 That's what he was doing the whole time.
Oh. I wonder how they thought that. That must have been quite scary.
I think that Harvey Stevens. There's an interesting story actually as to how Harvey Stevens gets cast, and if you've seen the bonus features on the DVD of the Omen, I have the Omen box set because I genuinely love this series. I love the franchise. I think it's fantastic. There is a part where Richard Donner was talking about how he was auditioning kids for the part, and Harvey came in, and he's this cute little shrew, but he was blonde. Harvey's blonde, got these little blonde curls, and he walked in and he said, "Right, this is the direction that I want you to follow. When I say action," he said, "I want you to attack me." He said, "I want you to go absolutely crazy. Don't hold back. Just go for it." Harvey's sitting there going, Richard Donner goes, "Action," and Harvey squared up and kicked him right in the bollocks.
Oh!
He's hired. He's hired.
Oh, it's one way to get. How did you get your job? I kicked him in the balls.
Kicked the director in the balls.
And I got my job.
Yeah. That'll work.
It's one way to do it.
Yeah. Got him right in the knackers yard.
Just, I'm not a man, but
inside your body, doesn't it?
Like that. I probably wouldn't want to
try more of it.
Just gonna wipe my eyes a second.
Yeah.
So,
I love got him right in the knackers.
What I do quite like through this whole film, again, because of the era it's set in, is the amount that Mr. and Mrs. Thorne do actually communicate with each other. And he never belittles any
choice.
Yeah, they've only got each other. But no, what I mean is that he never belittles what she says because she's just a woman. Like, do you know what I mean? There's actual, and that would have come from the director. Like, you know, they could make the woman so weak, and she's not a weak character. Like, I feel she's quite strong.
Yeah.
For everything she's going through, and he's very open-minded to everything she says. So it's in that scene though.
But she also had no autonomy.
No, but that's because of the era.
She has to ask him, Robert, I want to see a doctor, I want to see a psychiatrist. And then further on down the line, when it's revealed that Kathy is pregnant again, and she opens the conversation with, Robert, I don't want to have any more children. And he says, okay, fine. And then she says, so you'll agree to an abortion. A woman could not legally terminate a pregnancy without her husband's say-so.
Sure. But, like, I mean, it's just one thing that she can actually say that to him. I mean, that is actually a very poignant scene, and that leads from something else where that suddenly becomes quite important, that she's pregnant again. But we're back in the room. So he's just had his first sign again. So, you know, so we've had the nanny issue. We've now had this first sign that, you know, he's terrified to go in a church. But again, these could just be things, they could be unrelated. It doesn't necessarily mean he's the son of the devil. It's just, you know, he's just a 5-year-old. They do have meltdowns. But then they point out the fact in this particular scene that he's never been sick a day in his life, which is unusual. Yeah. It's very unusual. Yeah, kid is normally going around with some sort of snotty nose and sticky fingers, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because he goes, oh, are you sure you don't want a doctor? And she thinks it's for him. And he's like, no. It was like, no, it's just a bruise. And he's like, no, for Damien. And she's like, but he's fine. Like, he's sleeping now. He seems all right. You know, I think she kind of wants to just put it behind her and move on. So she heads to bed. Seems confused that he's not going to come with her initially. And it's in that point. It's like, oh, you're going to come later. Okay. But maybe
Can we talk about the decor in that room, though? Because,
it's just
my God.
It's quite something. And that's just their bathroom.
The 70s upchucked all over that room. Good God.
Oh, it did.
Can we have it back?
How much chins can you fit in one room? How many different patterns?
There was room for at least. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not exactly a minimalist. But dear God, the ginseng all over the ginseng place.
And as you know, she's taking her makeup for the night with beautiful mascara on and lipstick and her little bruise. And she goes off to bed. After I did smile at the maid that came in and got to say her one line. I bet that made her entire, like, there was the one that came, anything else, Mrs. Thorne? No, it's okay, you know, that's it. Thank you, Mr. And that's it. You never see that lady again. But I think it's just continually true that they've got house staff, because later on, again, that becomes important to know. So she goes off to bed, and Mr. Thorne goes to check on Damien. And he goes around, knowing bit, electricity's not working, lights not working, when he flicks the switch. And then he's confronted by the dog that is now in his house. And we're not quite sure initially how the dog has got in there, and it's growling at him, quite sinister. And then the ever lovely Mrs. Baylock appears. And in her
master of the house.
You don't bark at him. All very gently spoken, which is just so sinister. Makes my toes curl. She is literally the scariest character in the whole thing, I think.
She is. She's meant to be. She is a servant of Satan. She is supposedly, if you look at the etymology of her name, which is Balok, there is a demonic entity apparently by the name of Balal or Balak. I think it's Balal and Balak that are supposed to be twin sisters, demonic twin sisters. And Balak has now become Balok.
Ooh, very good.
Yeah, she is supposed to be a demonic entity, I believe, anyway. If you look at the hierarchy of demons and everything else, she is a formidable entity.
Is she a sister of sin? She
is. She's one of us.
She's one of us. Yeah. So he goes sees the Rottweiler. I've written Ms. Balok, ideas above her station. As in, I brought the dog in because I think he needs watching over when you're away on your travels. But again, not come to him, not ask for his permission, and he's an important man. Like, he's friends with the President of the United States. He's not like some small businessman. He is quite an important man, and she's just brought this dog in that's snarling and growling and near his 5-year-old child. Yep. So I think imagine.
Strike one was the wedding. Strike two is the dog.
But again, he deals with it quite gently. He's a bit like, well, if I'm, going to have a dog around my child, it's going to be one I've spoken. So please ring the RSPCA and make sure this dog is picked up and all the rest of it. Not get out of my house. It would be more my inclination and take that dog.
Fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Leave now. But isn't it funny when she flicks the light on, it worked? Because he does the lights not working. He comes around, scary dog, shadow. She comes out, flicks the light on, it works. Anyway, so then we move away from all of that. He's off to work, and Mrs. Thorne takes Damien to the safari park. Again, he says thank you very politely for his ice cream, for his choc ice.
Thank you.
In his little brown suit. I know he's really sweet. It's not like he's horrible to everybody. This is the thing. I think that's quite a clever way to play it as well. They just play him as a child. What you ever get is looks and certain smiles in certain situations and the music.
But he doesn't know what he is. He doesn't know who he is. He is 5 years old. It is everything else around him that is kind of being brought in, and you're made to sort of look at how he acts and how things react to him. But then if you were to flip this completely on its head, is this a story about a demonic child who is the Antichrist? Or is it a story of one couple's descent into psychosis?
True. Like losing their mind and just seeing stuff in two people that are able to, that they
only have each other. They have each other and they have this child. And they are, I think, especially in the era that it's set, you can look back and go with a modern lens and say, are they both? Is there a mental illness happening here? Is there a psychosis? Or is there something happening that we don't see? Because first it starts with the wife, and when she is no longer there, it's with the husband.
Yeah, and they're not, and we've got to remember they didn't have emails, they didn't have Zoom calls, they didn't have FaceTime, they weren't able to you could make a phone call, but you'd have to make sure someone was at home to receive the phone call. It wasn't like you could just send an email and check in how someone was doing. So you were very, very much alone. And Americans in the UK, I mean, that's a very good. I like that. So what we see at the safari is first Damien going up to watch the giraffes, and his mum comes up behind him and is watching, and suddenly the giraffes run away. And there's a knowing smile on Damien's face. But is it a knowing smile? Or did something just spook the giraffes and now the mum's reading something into it? because of other things that have happened. Like, is it now
I've made
building
you think now, haven't I?
foundation? Like, when I thought that there, I was like, what's she seeing? Like, animals run away. Like, it's not just because your child stood there, or it could be because your child has stood there because animals don't like humans, like necessarily, and they were like, "Oh, let's be close," and you run away. It's not an unusual thing. And then I did. Oh, it's so terribly British. The voice as they then are in the car going around. Baboons are dangerous animals. Please keep the windows closed. Baboons
bite.
Baboons.
Please keep the windows closed. Baboons bite.
Baboons bite. Please.
Thank you, Windsor Safari Park. May you rest in pieces.
Baboons bite. Please keep the windows closed.
Did you ever go to Windsor? Did you ever go to Windsor Safari Park as a kid?
No. I really wish I had
exactly like that. It was exactly like that.
So terribly British.
And if you think about it, I wouldn't have gone that long after the film came out because I was born in 79. So by the time I was like 5 or 6 years old, we're talking 84, 85. I potentially, and I know I went to Windsor Safari Park because I went, you know, after I rewatched The Omen for the 450th time. Yeah, rolls. What kind of ice cream you got? Rolls. That's it.
Rolls.
Yeah.
Choc ice.
Yeah. You felt lucky. You felt lucky if somewhere had Cornish ice cream as a kid. None of this fancy 400 flavours stuff. If somebody had white ice cream and Cornish ice cream, they were special.
Not yellow vanilla. You got white vanilla. That's when you knew it was good vanilla because it wasn't yellow or cut from
Cornish ice cream.
And not cut from a block. No, this cut from a block. And if they were feeling really posh, it was the Viennetta. Viennetta. I can't even eat ice cream. It makes me throw up. So I'm no good. I was under an ice lolly.
It's all right. It's all right. I'll eat yours. It's fine.
Oh, thanks. But anyway, so now we're in the car. He's gone off to work, hasn't he? I can't remember what he is, but he's not with them. He's working.
Have we had the first visit from the priest? No, that's the first visit from the priest at this point.
No, and he was off to. So he's off to that. So she then has this scare in the car. The baboons are all very scared all of a sudden, and they're screaming and stuff. I was thinking, why didn't she just put her foot down and get out there? But no, she decided she'd sit still while they were having their moment. Damien then climbs into her lap. He's frightened. And he hugs her.
To be fair, both Harvey Stevens and Lee Remick were fucking terrified during that scene. And shall I tell you why?
Because they were really sat there.
Because sat in the back seat of the car, in a veterinarian's arms, was the somewhat lead baboon.
And that's what they were reacting to, the baboon in the car.
Well, first they tried it with a baby. They had a baby baboon in the car with an animal handler. And they were like, oh, whatever. They put the alpha in the back seat with an animal handler. And suddenly realised.
Everyone went apeshit. Ha ha!
Thank you. She'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip us. Thank you very much. We take cash, credit cards, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Swish. Yeah, they had the alpha baboon in the back seat of the car.
Flip me, that's a bit scary.
They didn't quite have him tranquilized well enough.
No.
And halfway through rolling, he came to. And the bit where, there's a scene where Lee Remick kind of throws her head back as she screams.
Yeah, that was real.
The baboon's coming at the. Yeah, it's because he'd got hold of a chunk of her hair and had yanked her head back.
Oh, nice.
The baboon had reached out,
1976, health and safety. What's that?
Yeah, so then it was, holy shit, get out. And she actually was driving that car.
Oh,
and they had there was the camera guy in the front seat with her. You had the animal handler in the back with the baboon. Obviously, little Harvey in there as well. But yeah, apparently they were both petrified, and that's the scenes that made it to the film.
And they're probably terrified of monkeys ever since. But anyway, so then it cuts the evening, and I don't know if she tells Mr. Thorne what happened. I don't know if she tells Robert exactly what's happened, because he's like, "Oh, you don't seem right." "Oh no, I'm just tired." I love that. "I'm just tired." Yeah. Aren't we all love? "I'm just tired."
The women's excuse for everything. "I'm just tired.
I'm just tired." If you tell me anything, and he goes, "You seem, and he's like, and then she admits to having fears. And she goes, "But I don't want to tell you because you'll have me committed. My fears are going to make me look completely crazy. You're going to put me in an institution." She wants to see a psychiatrist. Robert is supportive, obviously, because you can't, as a woman, choose to go and see a psychiatrist on your own back then.
Nope.
And it's after that, he then goes to a rugby match. And this is where he meets the next main character, Father Brennan. Played by Patrick, I don't know how to say that surname. Troughton, thank you. So he appears at the end of this rugby match.
Who was second Doctor Who?
Yes, that's why I recognised him. I kept thinking Doctor Who. Do you know what? It was really weird. When he gets to the bit where he's running and there's lightning and bad weather, it made me think of Doctor Who. But it is because his face, he is Doctor Who. That's why. Anyway,
he is the Doctor. Yes, he's the second Doctor.
He comes to Robert with cryptic messages, seems absolutely out of his mind, looks ill. You're going. I love how it's always cryptic. You just think, just spit it out. Just tell him. Just tell him.
Tell him. How long does it take for you to get the words out? His mother was a jackal.
Yeah, exactly. But and as he's leaving, Jennings takes more photos of him. So his message is so cryptic. He seems ill, actually mad. Great camera angles is what I've written. Is this before or after? Is it later on that he sees him in his office, or is this? I've written the rugby one, and I can't remember what order it is in now.
Office was first.
Yeah,
in the office first.
That's where I forgot to put down was the meeting in the office where he's locked in and doesn't say the word jackal. He says Jack.
Meet him in the office first, and then we go to the rugby match.
Again,
Jennings is there taking pictures.
And gets, thank you. He says thank you. Turns to him, takes a picture. Very nice.
Father, thank you.
And he then has them developed and sees more of these weird, I don't know what you call flaws in the imagery, but they only appear in certain ones and only on certain people. But he does.
It's almost as if it's prophetic.
It's like that, yeah. So after seeing him at the rugby match, she tells him to meet him at a certain place at a certain time, doesn't he? Is it like the next day or whatever?
Bishop's Park,
that was it. Again, very cryptic. Says, but this is where he mentions Megiddo. So now I know which ghost song I think about.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Gigolo homage. I can never say this one. Megiddo. Just say it quickly, Jerry. Say it quickly, and it's which I then looked up. Identified as the site of the final battle between the forces of good and evil at the end of time. Armageddon, based near about 60 miles away from Jerusalem. Tell Megiddo. So yes, it's funny. And then I started looking up the lyrics for that song. He's Armageddon for women. Even if you are pure, you crave the wand. So yes, we can see his influence with that one, and he just liked the name of it. Anyway, going back, major fact here. This is where Father Brennan tells Robert that Mrs. Thorne, that Kathy is pregnant again. And he's like, no, she's not. Like, I'd know this before you. Why would you know this? And then after that, the poor priest has an awful experience. running through the field, running through the park. He's trapped in, he can't get out. There's lightning, winds are blowing. It seems all end of days-ish. But that is where my brain went, Doctor Who. And it's really funny. Then you're like, that's why, because his face is Doctor Who, and that's probably why my brain did it. And the music within it as well. There's like that chanting and the Latin and the whatnot. And then the poor man is speared by a falling pole, like the phantom image in the photos. Ooh, misses. And what I think is quite a highlight is this happens during the day. It's not nighttime.
Mhm.
So many movies, so many horror movies rely on darkness and evening and night. And this is not. This is just daytime, which in a way to me makes it bloody scary. Because you only have to worry about nighttime in a lot of horror movies. So, as long as you're in daylight, you're safe, something. And yes, the poor man dies. So where are we from there? Then I think at this point, where she's now pregnant, she seems to be less attached to Damien. She's now starting to find the child annoying. The noises he makes annoying, but that's quite normal again for a 5-year-old that constantly makes repetitive noises over and over again. And if she, obviously, we don't know at that point, but she hasn't confirmed it, but if she's pregnant, she's probably a bit sensitive to everything, hormones and all the rest of it. Mrs. Baylock to take him out the way because she's finding him irritating. And then when she does, Mrs. Baylock does take him away, and she goes to Robert, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I feel this way.
Yeah.
And when it comes into what you spoke about, the fact she says, look, I don't want any more children. And then, so therefore you will agree to an abortion. It's quite something. I think that whole scene's quite a big one as well, because you've got her anxiety and stress over the noise this child is making, that she's now feeling less attached to. She doesn't know why she's pregnant. She has to admit these things like, Robert, you need to talk to she's obviously been seeing the psychiatrist, though we don't see any of those scenes or where she's speaking to it. They do infer the fact she has been seeing the psychiatrist. And she says, yes, he does need to speak to you. And then he gets the phone call. He gets a phone call. I'm presuming it's Jennings who rings him. I'm not sure who calls him. It's all broken up, and then it's like, look at the paper, and he unfolds it, and it shows that the priest has done. Don't they just have a picture of the priest with the pole through him as the front page photo? Tragic death of priest. I was thinking, really, that picture? Okay. And he sees, he asks about.
We love the 70s.
We love the 70s. No Molly coddling there. Just taking it as it is, people. Take it as it is. And I think now, again, you could look at it as joint psychosis, or, the Robert is now starting to see maybe this priest is right. He was talking about the fact his wife was pregnant. His wife is now that he's pregnant, that she's pregnant, not he's pregnant, that she's pregnant. I mean, is the devil's baby. Anyone could be pregnant. But, that she's pregnant again, and all these things that he's been told about are now coming true. Like, he must be unraveling. Of knots. Like, you'd just be like, I'm sorry, what is going on? So, again, something major is going to happen with the music and the singing. So he disappears off. My words. So you're back in the house, and it feels like Mrs. Baylock is winding Damien up, like trying to get him to get hyper. And I've written in my notes, oh look, a tricycle. Another tricycle. It's not just from The Shining. There's tricycles everywhere. They are obviously the transport of the devil. It's the tricycle. The ministry is not your playground.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. At least he didn't knock him off the balcony.
No, there were no balustrades involved.
No balustrades. Again, I feel it's like Mrs. Baylock more than, it's not Damien who's come out and thought, I'm going to drive into this table. He's a 5-year-old child. He's riding in circles in his bedroom. She then opens the door and kind of lets him go, like wound him up, let him go. Mrs. Thorne is what was she watering some plants or what was she doing? She was doing something.
Yeah.
And so she's moved a
Do you
table.
not have staff for this woman?
Yes, they do have staff. They have lots of staff. They have highlighted through the whole
Somebody
thing.
else to do it. Why are you doing it?
Because it said so in the script. I'm terribly sorry.
Ah, right. But of course, we're getting all of this in between Jennings talking to Robert.
Yes.
At the priest's house.
Yes.
So we've got this intercut of Jennings going, "Can you see anything in this picture that maybe shouldn't be there?" And Robert, no. And he says, "Well, at first I thought it was a glitch in the film," and then points to a line on the first picture of Holly holding Damien in her arms, and then the second picture of Holly as she's gone for a swing.
Yeah, and it's in exactly the same place. It's not a particular
same position. And then
again, with Brennan, Father Brennan,
with the priest, Father Brennan outside the embassy. It's it's a hazy line. And then a few days later at the rugby match, he says, "Except look at it now. It's darker. It's making contact with the body. Would you look at this?" And then we get and then he said, "I would help you with this if you'll let me, Mr. Thorne." And he says, "No, this is my problem." And he says, "With all due respect,
that's not till they're at, because all those photos he was showing in his photo studio. Then they go.
Yes, you're right. We go to the priest's abode.
Go to the priest's place. So the table's been knocked by Damien on his tricycle. That this has somehow made her stumble over the balustrade. She's held on. First, you get the fish bowl. Is it a fish bowl? Something smashes with water in it. It's a fish bowl.
Fish bowl with a goldfish, yeah.
The goldfish, babelfish, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. She then falls to the floor from there. And he does nothing. Bless him. He's just staring at her. He's like, and then she falls. And he runs off. He leaves the tricycle. He runs off. They now go to the priest's house or his apartment. And so I've written, the photographer shows Mr. Thorne the images, tells the priest was, he also can't, does he talk about his autopsy? The fact the priest was riddled with cancer and was taking morphine like 3 times a day. So he was off his nut on painkillers. Knew he was dying.
Riddled with morphine.
He had the birthmark of 666 on his thigh as well. And then they go to his room that is literally papered with pages from the Bible, literally on the windows and everything, apart from the bit which he's left so you can see the church. So I don't know if they're trying to signal that maybe he was the first attempt at coming, but he went against it because he had the marking, and or is it the cancer and he's just completely loopy? We don't know, because from the outside he looks fine. But this is where you were talking about the next photo that highlighted who was going to die.
He said, he says, "With all due respect, Mr. Thorne, this is also my problem. As I was in here taking photographs, I caught my own reflection in the mirror. And as he shows Robert the picture of himself, there is a huge chunk of black straight across Jennings' neck, which would indicate that he might end up being decolopolated."
Yeah, he's going to lose his head. Potentially. We don't know yet, but... Do you know what, though? This is where, is it R.L. Stine who used to write Goosebumps?
Yeah.
There was one of them, and it was this camera, and it always depicted, every photo it took was depicting a bad experience. So, like, it took a photo of friends, and then the image that actually came out from the camera, I think it was Polaroid, was there, like, the stairs collapsing and them all falling. It was a really...
Ooh.
I did like myself some horror books because I was a Goosebumps girl. So yeah, I'm wondering if maybe R.L. Stine got his inspiration from the Omen and this that took these images of things. You're like, where did they get it? Or is it something that came to them without even realizing it? So yeah, they now help it. This is where you hit the apex of the roller coaster. And this is where it's suddenly going to go.
Right there. We are right there.
So build up. So now Mrs. Thorne's been taken off to hospital. She's lost the baby because that's what the priest was talking about. That this, Damien is not going to allow this child to survive. He wants all the power for himself. There's this whole poem going on, blah, 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 blah. And so she's in hospital. And this is very important. Before he goes off to Italy, because it's like, who's going to look after Damien while I'm away? And she's like, who was their housekeeper? Horton.
Mr. and Mrs. Horton.
Mrs. Horton. Do you know how I just reminded myself it's Mrs. Horton? Because I reminded myself of Horton Hears
Horton
a Who.
Hears a Who?
Yes, Horton Hears a Who. I was like, Horton.
Get out my brain.
Another film. There was one, Horton. So he's come home, Mrs. Horton. Mrs. Horton, where are you? And it's just Mrs. Baylock again with her very, very soft spoken. They've all gone. They've gone for the day. No, they're just gone. Yeah, they've left you. They've all gone. They've given a forwarding address for their last salary. But you're like, did she just kill them all? It's like, what happened to the staff? But it's okay. And the dog's gone, supposedly. The RSPCA picked him up this morning. So it's all fine, and she can look after Dave. Would you trust her? Would you? After everything she's done. But he goes off to Italy, leaves his wife in the hospital, who's very broken, bless her, arm in traction. But she's going to survive. She's going to live. But, she's lost the baby. Mrs. Baylock's looking after Damien, and Jennings and Mr. Thorne head off to Italy to see the hospital. Because they were in Italy initially, wasn't it? Because they weren't in the US, they were in Italy.
Yes, he was born in Rome, yeah.
He was born in Italy. Oh, funny that. Rome, Italy. As that's, where he was initially ambassador. So, yeah, they're now in Italy. They go to the hospital, and the taxi driver is talking to them and saying it's, that it burnt down 5 years ago on the 6th of June. And also, that was another bit. They were looking at the newspaper articles when they were in the priest's house or flat or whatever, talking about the fact there was a comet that was like the Star of Bethlehem, except this time it was over Europe.
Yep.
And it happened 5 years ago on the 6th of June. And when was your son born? The 6th of June. But he's not my son. And that's the first time he admits that child is not his child. He admits it to Jenny.
I don't know whose son I'm raising.
Yeah, I don't know whose son I'm raising. So they're now in the
powerful couple of scenes, those really powerful couple of scenes back to back with Jennings and Robert in the priest's house and Kathy at the house. They're really important scenes that are intercut together, and they're very, very cleverly done.
Yeah, and they give you a lot of information.
And I think it's at that point, the point where he realizes that Kathy's lost the child, I think it's at that point that Robert starts to have second thoughts about everything that's going on, because before he was very much, when Brennan was saying to him in his office, he said, I was there the night your son was born. I saw its mother. And he says, you saw my wife. And he says, I saw its mother. No, you saw my wife. And it was, and he was very adamant about the fact that Damien is his child. Damien is Kathy's child. And it's not until we get to
Italy.
My God, she's lost the baby.
Yeah.
And we get there, and it's all of a sudden it's like,
who is this? I don't know whose son I'm raising. I don't know about this anymore. I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
Can we go back? So this I've written in my notes.
I want to go home now.
I changed my mind. I wrote hospital burned down 5 years ago. Dun dun dun. So I've actually written in my notes. Dun dun dun. Everything was destroyed. Everything was incinerated. Everything was ashes. So there's no paperwork. But they speak to this.
Where did the fire start?
In the maternity ward.
3rd floor, Hall of Records, maternity ward.
Yep. Oh, shock horror. Dun dun dun. It's like, what could possibly have happened?
There's our thumbnails for the. There's our thumbnails for the video.
Yeah. scared. Shock horror. The Omen. And then so he's like, there was a priest here, and that's when they're, as I call him, Father Stiletto. And she goes on to say, yes, he's still alive, and they work out where he is. And my brain goes to, well, that lift she went on was a bit funky, wasn't it? We're just like, the lifts in the hospital. I could probably deal with one of them. I probably would go on one of those. Yeah, that one's all right, because it's not really, it's to be all right. It's just, it depends how high up it goes, to be honest. Lift. Anyway, that's by the by. So they're going to go and see.
I need a box with the doors that close. I want the doors to close.
I don't want doors to close. I don't want to be stuck in a box. That's the problem. I don't want to be stuck in a box. Don't put her in a box. She panics.
Don't put the woman in a box. Don't put her on an escalator.
Yes. And let me just use the stairs. It'll be fun. So Padre Spiletto. So they know where he is now. But they go and stop to have a bit of a coffee and a chat. And to point out, and I think, is it Jennings are reading some verse, and they're reading stuff from the Bible. But basically what it boils down to is the devil's child will rise from the world of politics. I think that might be my favourite line in that film. The devil's child will rise from the world of politics.
So the poem, it's an 8-line stanza, and I would like to point out that this does not appear anywhere in the Holy Bible. I know, because I checked. Yes, I actually voluntarily picked up a copy of the Holy Bible to check whether this was in there. It's bloody not.
It's not. They lied. They made it up.
Hollywood making shit up. So the poem is, when the Jews return to Zion and a comet splits the sky, the Holy Roman Empire rises, then you and I must die. From the eternal sea he rises, creating armies on either shore, turning man against his brother until man exists no more.
No more. Very good.
I am available for dramatic readings. There you go.
So the priest, so they then head on, because that's what Brennan had said to him when he last him, and the day he also died. So they head to where Jennings is. I did laugh because they walk into this church, the two of them just walk through. All these people are chanting and praying and don't turn their heads to look at them once. They're all just like fixated on something and they don't move. They don't even react to them being there. And they come through to Father Stiletto. Sorry, Padre Stiletto. I'll behave myself now. And he is not looking good, bless him. He's not in a good way. I think he got caught in the fire. His face is all burnt and his eyes and everything. I must say, I thought the makeup was very well done.
Very well done.
It looked painful. It looked painful.
Yeah.
And they speak to the priest there, and they spoke about the fact, apparently, he's taken on his curse, like he's dealing with this thing because he abandoned Christ. And they spoke about
this is his
penance
that he's, may his right arm wither and may his right eye be cast from his body and blah blah blah. And it's his right arm that's all mangled up, and it's his right eye that's all white and covered in burns.
And like, how do you know he abandoned Christ? He told us. And they were like, but he's not speaking, and they were like, here's still some movement in his left hand, and he scribbled out something, and from that they divined that that's what had happened and all the rest of it. And that's where you can start seeing poor old Robert starting to lose it, and he's getting angry.
Really starting to lose the plot.
You've not seen him angry through the whole film until this point, where he is really trying. He's like, please, I need you to tell me what is going on. Where did this child come from? Who is its mother? What is this? Blah 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 blah. And he and he manages, the priest again scrapes something out, in your penitence, can you please tell me what is going on? And what was the name of it's a graveyard. I want to say
Cerveti.
Cerveti. I wasn't far off. I'm quite impressed.
Cerveti.
So and they're like, but there's nothing there. It's just a grave site. It's abandoned. It's freaking creepy. All the rest of it.
Very old. It's from Etruscan times.
Yeah, they're like, no, you don't want to go there. But and all the time he's doing this, I noticed, like, there's while the bell chimes ominously, Padre Spoleto manages to scrape a word, a graveyard, when asked about the child, and there's like the ringing of the bells, end of time stuff again. End of world chiming, the bells chime. For whom the bells chime.
Indeed.
Bit of Iron Maiden in there as well. So they go there. They go to the abandoned graveyard. And I've written the angles that the cameras are suggest they're being watched. You get the feeling that something is watching them. From because it's almost like you get a bit of a and it's looking round it, so you think, it feels like these two people are in. I must say,
you can hear breathing as well.
I'll have another listen. Oh, well, I thought that was the dogs that we lay see there, but because I have a dog,
you can hear the dogs breathing.
I think it's the only scene in the whole film where I'm like, studio. It was the only one where I went, it's creepy and windswept, but and we're in a studio.
Very setty, that one. Yes.
Out, I mean, possibly parts of it are a real graveyard, but obviously you don't want to disrespect somewhere. So that's the only one I feel like where you go, bit of a studio feeling. I mean, it was still very good, and in 1976 you weren't going to notice, but it was just, my brain went, studio, feeling a bit Doctor Who-esque at that time. So they come across the grave sites. Maria Scianna, I can't remember. Is it Scianna? I've spelled it. Scianna. She's a Maria. Mary, Maria, Mary. And they and she died on the 6th of June. And they lift the gravestone, they lift the cover, and inside is an animal carcass, presumably a skeleton of a jackal. And I think it was very telling work. Like, Jennings drops away, so now it's just Robert holding it, and he struggles and he lets it go and it breaks. And I think that's quite a sort of a theatrical bit. Like, it could have just plonked back down, but it's the way it breaks into the grave on top of the skeleton. And then they're like, there's the one that says Bambino Scianna.
Bambino
Scianna. If it's an animal one in there, then we know that, my son did die, and he could still be alive. That was what he was going for, is that my son could still be alive and somewhere in the world. So they lift, and
Jennings, at that point, he still has hope.
Yeah, and Jennings tries to stop him. Like, no, we just need to leave. We need to leave. I think he can feel now that there's something there. It's ominous. We need to go. You hear more of the going on, and you start seeing the dogs, poor rotties. But they lift it, and there is a baby skeleton, and you can see it's got blunt force trauma. So the baby wasn't stillborn, didn't die. He was murdered. So where were we? So yes, baby skeleton, and it is here that we have now discovered not only did the baby die, he was murdered. Like, it didn't need to happen. So,
as Robert says,
murderers. Yeah. And it's then that the dogs come in, they get chased. Robert gets injured climbing over a fence, like he gets impaled by the pokey things on the top of a fence, what are they called? And then there's the music and the chanting and the Latin, to add it in, and there's wind and there's smoke and smog and all the rest of it. But he manages to get back. They manage to get back to where they need to be. I don't know where Jennings then disappears off to, but he's in the room on his own, and he rings Kathy.
He left it for Scram.
Oh, okay. So they both manage to get back to wherever, and then he rings Kathy and tells her she needs to get ready to leave London, that they need to just go. And she's like, but I can barely move. Like, she's still got her arm in, she's still in the hospital and all the rest of it. He's like, no, but we need to go. So you then cut to a scene of her trying to undress herself, and obviously not much movability, and she hasn't asked for help. So she's now got this nightdress, but see-through nightdress, very useful, is now stuck over the top of her. She's kind of caught in a position. She's turned around, and lo and behold, it's Mrs. Baylock.
There's Mrs. Baylock.
Her room in the hospital. And then you just come to a scene. You don't see anything. You just see her, again, close-up of eyes, wide eyes, close-up of Mrs. Baylock's face, wide eyes and all that malarkey. Then you come to the outside of the hospital. It's just bustling like normal, ambulances, stuff going on. And then ear-piercing shriek, like the scream of the century, as Mrs. Thorne falls from a window. So again,
from a great height onto an ambulance. Well, actually into an ambulance.
Yeah, I must say, it's like they suddenly have her there, and it's just one delicate bit of blood. There's no like crushed head or what injuries actually would happen. She looks still very pretty for a death.
I know.
And now we have lost Mrs. Thorne. This is like things are really kicking off now. People are dying here, there, and everywhere, and yeah, it's quite something. And again, like you said, is it the devil at work? Did Mrs. Baylock do it? Or is this all in Miss Thorne's head and she ended up jumping out the window out of fear? You don't know what happened in the room. You don't know. You just see Mrs. Baylock. I can't even remember what she said. She just always looks sinister. So, you know.
She said anything, did she?
No, she just looks. I think she just looks at her. And is it in her head?
Looks, yeah.
And so you just, So she's now died. And Robert finds out, and funnily enough, is absolutely bereft. Thanks for that.
She did.
She did. Oh, bless her. She's died.
Oh, she did.
Robert's bereft. He's lying on the bed. He doesn't quite know what to do. And Jennings comes back into the room. He's found out about Megiddo. There we go. Megiddo.
Megiddo.
And Robert then admits that he does remember who he's meant to see in Megiddo, or he remembers who he's meant to see in Megiddo. He remembers the verse that you so lovingly quoted earlier. And he then tells Jennings Kathy's dead and he wants Damien to die too. So, you know.
To see Bugenhagen.
Huh? Oh, yes. Yes.
Bugenhagen.
Carl Bugenhagen. Do you know how hard it is? I don't think he's in the list on IMDb. I could not see Bugenhagen. Yeah. It was driving me nuts. It's probably there now. Do you remember the ADHD fourth dimension? Things disappear there when you're looking for them. Someone else will just see them. But he wasn't. I had to go and Google it. Played by Leo McKern. So they go out to tell Megiddo. They travel on to Jerusalem. Damien, assume, is still with Mrs. Baylock. His mum's dead, but, you know, leave the child, whatever, you know, because he wants him dead now. And he meets with this guy. No, doesn't care. But this guy will only talk to Robert. So Jennings has to leave the room.
Yeah.
You know, this information is only for Robert. So, like, again, like the fact Jennings isn't in the room when this information is passed to him, it's like, is this all in his head? Is this something like he has met this person exists, but is what he then tells him what he actually tells him or what he is seeing? And he tells, you know, that this is the devil's child. He's not human. It's not your child, you know, and he gives him a ceremonial knife, the only thing that will kill him, and says about that he's marked with the 666. And he's like, Robert's like, but I bathed this child. You know, he was his dad. He was a proper father. He looked after him. I said, I've seen every inch of him. There's nothing there. Then it's under his hair. And I did then remember that the baby they had at the beginning did have a full head of hair. So that was well played.
Yes, a very, very attractive head of hair, that child, yeah.
Excuse me, my sound's going off. There we go. Let's turn that off.
That's me.
Here's you. So he sends this blade.
Just to tell everyone, I've just gone to IMDb and scrolled through the 52 members of the listed cast to find Leo McKern credited as Carl Bugenhagen, because it's never there when Geraldine looks. But when I look,
it was there. I looked so many times for Bugenhagen. I gave up in the end. I thought I'd just Google it. But is he quite far down the list?
To be fair, way down at the bottom. Way down at the bottom.
Because I went through and
it works the other way.
Credited for the person who said
up and down that something's not there. Geraldine will go and look, and all of a sudden, oh look, it's there, and I'm like, oh.
No, it's there now. And I was like, I'm sure it is, but I was getting annoyed, so I thought I'd just Google it, because I was like, yeah, I can see the guy credited for buying an ice cream. Great, thanks for that. And the guy
online.
Yeah, is right near the. It's in order of how they appeared, I think. Then there's the cab driver, and then the Arab. So yeah, there's all of that. So he's now got this knife. He goes back home. But Robert is conflicted. He comes out to Jennings, and he is so conflicted right now. Like, he is proper on the precipice of a just a complete breakdown. He's like, it's just a child. He does not know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he is. Like, I've been told I have to kill him. I can't kill him. He's just a child. And he throws the knife away. Which then Jennings goes for it and says, you can't do it. I'll do it. So he goes to find the knife, and there's I will, yeah, and it's everything. There's like a dig going on in the area, so there's a lot of work going on, and he's in this bit where he's like bent down trying to find the knife. This guy has now just climbed out of a vehicle, accidentally knocked the brake with his butt, and now it's rolling towards him. So I think we can all guess what happens at this point. Photo that was poor Jennings' picture. And as per the prophetic photo that he took, the poor man is decapitated. So, and now you've just got
an interesting story around the decolopulation as well.
Oh, is there? Go on. Please share.
So normally, Richard Donner was saying, normally, you know the scare is coming, and people will turn their heads away, and subconsciously they count 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's safe to look, right? He said, we need to make it longer. So the glass goes in, the head comes off. We go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and then it's over. He said, because when people look up at 3, it's still rolling. And then he said, so when we sat there and we watched, test screenings of it, it was, we're all counting at the back. They're going 1, 2, 3. I was like, oh, you bastards.
Oh, wait, you bastard. Oh, how cool.
And obviously they had to create
his head
model of the lovely David Warner's head.
They did a good job. It wasn't bad.
And fantastic. And they presented it to him in a box. And the reason that I know that one is because I asked him.
Oh, there you go. Oh, so that's why that happened to Terzo.
He said, what do you want me to do with that? No, I don't want it. Take it back.
Oh, I think I'd keep it if it was mine. I don't know. I think I'd be like, that's quite weird.
My own decolopulated head. Yeah.
But yeah, poor Terzo and his decapitated head. So the feeding ins of the inspirations as they come. Decapitated head. So literally by this point, Robert has now got his head in his hands. He is pulling at his hair. He's just watched his friend, his acquaintance die. Everybody is dead. And he is...
Everybody is dead, Dave.
Everybody's dead, Dave. Everybody's dead.
Everybody's dead, Dave.
So I think he's now losing his grip on reality. And he returns home. He returns to his house in the UK.
Ah, the days when you could take a flight with a packet full of knives on your lap. Just like that.
Just like that. No security problems, nothing. You went through with the ceremonial knife.
Wouldn't get away with that these days, would you? No.
And he comes in the house, and the first thing you hear is the dog So Mrs. Baylock, shock, horror, lied. The dog is still there. It's not gone. And again, the chanting starts very quietly at first. And then it goes quiet. And it's because he's hiding and he manages to trap the dog in the cellar. And then it comes back in. And he goes into the bedroom and he's sweating. This is, he's nervous. Everything is going on. There's sweat going on. He's in Damien's room. And his son's sleeping quite happily. And he manages, this is impressive, he manages to cut his son's hair and see the 666 without waking him up. Anyone who knows a 5-year-old child.
Mrs. Baylock.
Yeah, she comes flying in like a crazy thing and launches herself at Robert, scraping, scratching. This is the first time you see her not in her calm demeanor. And she really, really goes for him, but he manages to fend her off and he takes Damien, who's now screaming and crying and everything, but he trips or he gets electrocuted or something and falls down the stairs with him. Something happened. I was making notes at that time. I looked away. But they've tumbled down the stairs. Damien obviously isn't like majorly injured, but he leaves him there. And then Ms. Baylock comes down and they're fighting again. And in the end, Robert manages to kill her with a skewer of some description right there.
Opens the junk drawer in the kitchen and out falls a paring fork or something. Right, not being funny. Yeah. And I have to give a shout out to one of my favourite horror movie podcasts at this point. Big up for Horror Virgin, because Mikey from the Horror Virgin pointed out something ridiculously cool when they did their watch of the Omen. He said, for God's sake, the kid is 5 years old. Knock him out.
Yeah.
He's 5 years. Why are you fighting with a 5-year-old? Punch it. Knock it out. If you think it's the devil, kick it down the stairs.
Why is he even awake? Just done.
Why is it awake? Just whoop.
Because he's still, I think he's still, Robert is a nice guy. He wanted the best for everyone, and through a lot of decisions that he's made, everything's turned to shit. But
he's not wrong though. Knock him out.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think I could punch a 5-year-old. However annoying that. Actually, if they made that noise long enough, quite possibly. But he's still conflicted.
That it was the devil's offspring.
So that being said,
anyway,
I was about to say, being conflicted about knocking him out to like stabbing him with a knife. Yeah, there's a point there. There's a point. So he
7 holy knives into it. Knock it out.
So he manages to kill off Mrs. Baylock, gets him in a car. The security guard tries to stop him, and he goes careening through. Damien's screaming bloody murder in the front. Whereas, as you said, if you'd knocked him out and just made him look like he was sleeping in the back, none of the rest would have happened. But again, script. Exactly. So he's now driving through. He's now being chased by the police in the most sedate car chase you've ever seen. Just lots of people on speakers.
And also the most 70s car chase you've ever seen. The 1970s British cars.
It's so funny. It's just like, yeah, it's not your Hollywood nowadays. Little small cars,
It's not even, ashes to ashes or life on Mars. It's not, fire up the Quattro. It's me, ma, me, ma, me, ma.
There seems to be a problem. Oh yes, there is a chase. There seems to have been a situation. There has been a situation.
Diplomatic incident.
Yeah, so they chase him. He manages to get to this church with Damien. Takes Damien into the church. He's still bleeding from his injury from when he was in Italy. There's all these sorts of things. He's trying to hold this child down that if he'd just knocked him out, he wouldn't have any of these problems.
Just knocked him out, he wouldn't have this problem.
Damien hones in on the whole father paternal thing. Daddy, don't, Daddy, Daddy, don't.
No, Daddy, no.
No, Daddy. And you can feel it. You can feel it's just a child. How could you? And, suddenly, because in that moment of causing him to pause, Obviously, the police
That's out.
come running in. The only bit of question: UK police with a gun. What were the laws in 19?
Metropolitan Police, though? Did they have were parts of the Met armed at that point?
It seems very un-British to me. It just
Oh,
came
it's very not British.
It's very not British to have a gun. You do that and I will shoot, and he doesn't drop it, and then you just have bang and you see the smoke come from the barrel of the gun. You don't actually see anyone die. It's just all again insinuated. But it just makes me think of Jasper Carrots, you know. Stop, or I'll say stop again. You know, it's just like and then you come to a scene and it's a funeral, a double funeral. And funnily enough, Damien has survived. It's his poor parents' funeral. I'm not sure who's holding his hand. His dad gets shot, thus saving Damien. And he's at the funeral, and he's not crying, he's not sad. And the last shot again is that close up. So you've got the adults there, but it's at the level of Damien, and he does that turn into the camera. And the ominous look first with a serious face, and then he smiles and the Latin chanting starts again. And it's that ominous smile. It's proper like, oh, it's a little bit creepy child.
I've got a story about that too.
Oh, go on then, quick. Go on, share your story.
The very last push in on little Harvey Stevens. Because you need to be really serious. Game face. And he's sitting there behind the camera and he's going, and he can see it starting to happen, and he's going, "Don't you laugh, Harvey? Don't you laugh? Don't you laugh?"
That's how I get the best smiles at my kids. That's how I get the best smiles at my kids. No smiling allowed in this house. No. What did I say about smiling?
Don't you laugh? Don't you? No.
And then they're chanting over the top of it. And that's the end of it. And then they put the text from the Bible. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. But what that makes me think is there is no devil. The devil is humankind itself.
The devil is humanity.
Yeah, because it's like, for it is the number, count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. It's not saying that the beast is going to be created. So yeah, but I like someone to put, so states that if one is wise and has an understanding to count the number of the beast, which is also the number of a man, the number comes to 666. So it's like, but I think it's really, and then there's
theologians, so you know.
No, I'm not a theologian, but my wording for my little bit of notes, because it was a good gun, did all my note taking, was a wonderfully unsettling end to the movie. Because that's what it is. It completely unsettles you because there's this child and he just gives this smile and there's the chanting and then that's it. And you're just left.
So,
you know, at that point, you don't know if there's going to be any next movie.
On a scale of 1 to 5 skulls, how scared were you first time you watched it?
No, I wasn't scared.
No skulls at all? Not
scared.
Even one skull?
Creeped, but not scared.
Oh. Fair enough.
I've got a mug.
And who was...
I have children. You can't scare me.
Can't scare me. Same. And who was your favourite character?
Appreciation. I won't call it favourite. It's Mrs. Baylock. Oh my God, that woman. But that would be the character. If I was in it, that's who I'd want to play. Yeah, that's who I'd want to be. 100%.
And I do have a great appreciation for Mrs. Baylock because the incredible late, great Billy Whitelaw. But my favourite character and my favourite actor from the film is the late, great David Warner.
Oh, yeah. He was brilliant in it. He really was so good. His character was what linked everything. He was very much like the glue.
One of my prized possessions this is. I love this picture.
I don't blame you. I think he glued everything together. Obviously, without him...
He really did. He really did.
He's the one that is literally with it all from that moment. You know, I
Jennings
don't know.
was our way in. Jennings was almost our. Jennings was the one who, and taking it back to Doctor Who, a bit like the companion who is the one that asks the Doctor the questions that the viewer has. That is exactly what Jennings did for us in the film, and I love Jennings.
And they're the ones that make an impact. I mean, Gregory Peck's character was great. Obviously, you know, Lee Remick's character was brilliant, but to me, they're not the ones that made quite the impression on me. They this whole story stems from two people desperate to have a child. That's what it is. They're
worth
desperate.
it, people. Just putting it out there, kids. They're not worth it.
Don't have the devil's child. If you're that desperate, it's not worth it. And to be honest, even when
you really want one, you can have mine.
And to be honest, you know, they may even be your own child. They become spawns of Satan at some point in their growth time.
Or you know, you. Yeah.
I love you, children. If you see this, I do love you. Just be nice to me occasionally, please. Just gonna start rocking. Kids, it's kids. They don't you. What are you suffering from?
Kids. Fucking kids. But yeah, so that was The Omen, the 1976 Omen.
I would give it 5 skulls out of 5 skulls for being an amazing film. Like, it is genuinely.
Well, there we go. We'll do 2 scales. We'll do how scared were you and how much did you like it? That's fair.
I loved it. I genuinely found it fascinating to watch. And I think it's one of those, the more you watch it, the more little things you notice. And also how it links back.
Definitely.
Being what this podcast is for the love of Ghost and what Tobias sees in it. I mean, let's put it this way. I am a 41-year-old woman. I'm watching it. I don't find it scary. Geraldine at like 5, 6 years old, she would have been a little bit creeped out. I think more grossed out than scared, actually. I think it takes, to be honest, it's things that are more realistic, like things that where computers take over. Terminator probably scares me more, you know, because it's like, oh, that could happen. Oh, I don't like that. Whereas when it's like demonic and, you know, possession, I'm less scared because it's not quite as.
I'm very much with
out of there, but it, you know, it's less likely. Whereas when it's technology based or, you know, robots taking over and all that, you know, Independence Day creeped me out more than a lot of horror movies. I was like, that could happen. That's a potential. Ooh, I don't like that.
I'm very much with Tobias on the side of, because I too have an interest in the occult. So yes, my taste in horror does tend to swing towards the more religious horrors.
I find it fascinating coming from a religious background. Like, I grew up with religion, so to see that side of it, I find, like, you can't have Catholic system and not think about that side of it. Like, the Catholic Church poo-pooing these ideas is a bit like going, you can't have one without the other. The two are like entwined. You know, if you're gonna have
no light without darkness,
you've got to have the devil. But I think, again, the devil has been painted in a poor light. I don't think it's quite what, you know, it's made out to be. I think you're just you are the villain in someone's story, and
absolutely.
And from that point of view, he's the villain. But you know, it depends. The Omen is just really clever. I think the Omen, especially for a 1976. For what it was, I think I'm very, very glad I watched it a couple of times, and I would watch it again. I find it interesting.
Yay!
I mean, there are some movies out there I'm like, oh, I don't need to ever see that again. I'll give you one horror movie I have watched, and it was one of the first things I went to see with my husband, and it's a big pile of shite. It's Jeepers Creepers. What a pile of poo. It was really creepy and scary to a point until it turned into rejects from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
We don't like that film.
Oh shit!
We also don't like that director. But I will let you all do the research on why we don't like Victor Salva in your own time.
Can I guess? I'll internally guess. I can. But that film, literally, we went to see it. Keith had a bad back. He got in trouble with his mum for going out with his girlfriend because we'd only been going out a little while, and he hadn't been to work, but he could go out to a movie with me, and we went to see Jeepers Creepers at the cinema. And it was quite creepy, quite nervous, playing that song over. And then I went, but you can see him. And I'm sorry, once you can see what is causing the problem, to me, it becomes less scary. If I want to be scared, it's music and insinuation that there's something there. That because my mind will play way more than, as I said, what looked like a reject from Buffy. I was like, well,
classic example, Jaws. You never see the shark until maybe the last 20 minutes of the film.
Thumbs up. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I tell the kids, if you want to make a film not scary anymore, take the music out. It's shit. They're awful. All films are really bad.
And show the monster.
And then you're like, oh, it's lost anything now because you don't have that background beat. So anyway, there we go. We have nattered on for nearly 2 hours about the Omen. Actually, we've nearly made it 1 hour and 51 minutes, which is the same running time as the movie.
It's the same length as the film.
If we end it in 20 seconds, we're the same length as the Omen.
Not going to happen. We need to talk about what we're going to watch next week or next month or whenever we're doing this again. What are we watching next? What do you want to watch next?
What do you want to watch next? The Exorcist?
I was going to say, is it my pick? Can I pick The Exorcist?
Oh, there we go. Oh, I think that's the pick. We're going for The Exorcist.
Yay! So homework for next time. Watch The Exorcist from 1973. Bit of a classic. And Geraldine will tell you the story and I will come with the facts.
Yes. I love it. And you can tell all the underlying stories and all the other stuff with it. So yes, there's a lot to unpack with The Exorcist. There's a lot going on there. And again, set in the 70s. Health and safety.
Yeah.
What's that? So thank you for joining us.
Who is she?
She didn't exist then.
I don't know.
Let us know if you have any questions, have any recommendations, have any thoughts. We love to hear them. And we'll be back with you soon. Welcome. Oh, I forgot to do our new introduction, our new tagline at the beginning. Shocking. So I'm going to end it with, I know, welcome to the weird place. Thank you for joining us and hopefully catch the next episode soon. The next movie isn't The Exorcist, but you'll just have to wait and see what Mama E's next education is on.